Hello and welcome to Gorilla and The Geek, the podcast for sweaty nerds by sweaty nerds. My name is Kyle from Geeks Weekly, and I am here with the man, with the plan, and a fan in his room because it gets really hot, John, the Ginger Gorilla. John, how you doing?
It's me. God, we have faces now.
Hey, shout
Bro,
out, shout
we're
out.
we're upgrading. Just to let you know, you're to my left, so I'm looking at you right now, and I'm to your right. So when you turn right now we're looking at each other. Hey Kyle, how's it going?
What's going on, brother? Oh, this is
Hey.
kind of, wait, this
It's
might
weird.
be a little cringe.
I don't know, who cares? Dude,
Let's cut it.
I'm not cutting crap. We're Gorilla and the Geek. We're geeks, we're nerds, this is who we are, and we're excited about what we're doing on our podcast. I'm not cutting shit.
Boom. So real quick, the reason that we started doing some video as well is because we want to optimize, or is it optimize?
Sure.
Well, we want to make the content as good as we can. Granted, my camera isn't the best right now. I'm using the camera on my laptop. I wish I could use my actual real camera, but that's just kind of the way the cookie crumbles right now. We want to put up clips of the podcast. So if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you very much. If
Yes.
you're listening to us still, that's great also, as long as you're checking the content out. But that's all for housekeeping, I think, John. How about we get right into it?
I'm down. You want to start with one of your topics?
Absolutely. So, for those of you who don't know, this past Sunday, it was the Golden Globes Award. And the person who won Best Male Dramatic Performance from a Lead Actor was Joaquin Phoenix for Joker. Now, John, if you could just pull up that picture real quick,
Yes.
just so that we have a little bit of visuals as well.
Un momento. All right.
And so while John's pulling that up, the reason I wanted to bring that up is because I believe Joaquin Phoenix, even if it's just a Golden Globe, even if he doesn't win the Oscar, I think him winning Best Lead Performance for a Dramatic Film in 2019 or 2019, whichever way you say it, I say 2019, but that's a whole other debate for a different podcast. I think that is the perfect ending to what I call the decade of comic book films. Now,
So when I pull this up, it's not. We're still working out the kinks here, people. I'm just letting you know. It's not going to just be perfect picture. It's coming up in a file because I'm a little clumsy right now, and we're working on things. But things will get smoother. I promise that. Kyle promises it too. So
Absolutely.
right now, it is going to be right here. It's right next. Ready, and let me just do this. Boom. Right next to Kyle's head, we see Joaquin Phoenix.
boom,
A little clumsy, but here
Hey.
we are.
we're making it work.
Yeah,
And what geek isn't clumsy, am I right?
exactly.
So, the reason I wanted to bring that up is because I believe that 2019 was the peak of comic book movies. The only problem with a peak is that usually there's either a plateau or it goes downhill from there. Now, what I wanted to know from you, John, and any viewers or listeners out there is what do you want to see from comic book movies going forward? Where do we go from here?
Wow, that's a good question. All right. Wow. So I got rid of Joaquin Phoenix right now. Just so.
No, yeah, for sure.
But man, this is the thing. So the way we have it right now is what we've realized a couple things over the years. Marvel sets up an amazing storyline, right? So over the years, they have this amazing storyline going, and we had this 10-year arc of stories that led into one another, built into one another, so on and so forth, which brought us to Endgame. This huge arc, character development, everything. DC tried that, kind of, right? And they didn't succeed as much. But DC also did almost like one-off movies with a singular character, and those were good. AKA Wonder Woman, the Joker movie, right? And I would love another Joker. Shazam, right? I would love another Shazam. We're getting another Wonder Woman, and they're really good. And I think they're kind of trying to do that with Birds of Prey, maybe, and we'll see how that comes out. But I think for Marvel, I'd love to see more built on that universe, right? I want to see more with that. We have the TV shows coming out on Disney Plus to expand on some of that stuff. So I think with that, I would like to see more of character development over movies, maybe TV shows, intertwine them, try to, and which is going to be hard because the more you go into it, the more canon stuff and lore you have to follow. And then I would like to see DC not play that game because now you're competing. Do your own thing. Don't compete. Go do your one-off movies. Do your maybe if you want a TV show, we do have TV shows, but they're disconnected from the universe. So I guess that's which me and you have talked about before. Don't create a universe. Create maybe each movie will have its own universe, but not an overarching cinematic universe.
Okay. So here's I agree with you for a lot of those things. My main ask is I want comic book movies as a whole to start dipping their toes into different genres.
Ooh, oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we saw a little bit of this with Fox, especially, and it kind of saddens me that 20th Century Fox is now gone. Number one, because, and no one can fight me on this because you will lose that argument. 20th Century Fox's movie intros are the greatest of all time. I don't care what you say. That bum 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 is the goat.
not
I
even
don't
just
care.
not even just great. It's iconic. Like
Hell yeah!
yeah, it's just
It's fire.
the drums and horns. It like resonates in the movie theater when you hear it. Like there's like you feel the bass. Like it gets you going.
It straight up gives me chills every time I see
It
it.
sets the scene.
Absolutely. And what makes me sad, especially about them not being around anymore, is because they were starting to dip their toes into genre filmmaking within the comic book movie universe before anyone else was. I mean, so you can say that Captain America: The Winter Soldier was a bit of an espionage film. You can say that that Doctor Strange was a little, I guess, like magic-y fantasy sort of stuff. Sure, but I want us to go further than that. I love that Wolverine was a Western movie. I love that Deadpool was almost this, not necessarily a, but well, Deadpool 2 was kind of a buddy cop film that was like almost like Bad Boys esque, you know, where it's
Hmm.
raunchy, a comedy with a lot of violence. I like that New Mutants, even though it's only coming out now after 3 years. I like that that's like a horror thriller vibe. I want this going forward. I want us to stop making comic book movies as a genre and just make comic book movies into different things. I
Yeah.
want experimentation. I want new ideas, new stuff. And I want to go away from the comic book storylines. I want some original content. So get some writers in there and say, go nuts, but make it good. That's what I want.
So basically, use these characters with what they got, but come up with a new story for them.
Yes, absolutely.
Like don't just pull from because and that would make sense because all those sweaties like comic book sweaties like they might get angry about that idea at first. Oh, you're coming up. Maybe even hire a comic book writer almost to like just to kind of hold to some of the lore, right? Not necessarily the story, just so people don't go, well, her lasso of truth can only do this and not that. Like, you need to have some people like that who fact check you in the room and to help you kind of follow the comic-esque theme of these movies. I get what you're saying, like where you might like want it as like a horror film maybe. Right?
Yeah,
Like a horror film, but with a supervillain, like a DC supervillain, could be really cool.
of course.
But you need those. I think if you just give it to like someone like a screenwriter, who's not really versed in the comic book world, they might try to change things about the origins of that comic character, whatever. That maybe it's not really
Authentic.
yes to the character's actual storyline.
Okay.
Where it doesn't need to follow that formulaic comic book movie thing.
So not to cut you off. So Warner Brothers back in, I want to say 2016, Ben Affleck was originally writing and directing and was going to star in the upcoming, the Batman film.
Mm-hmm.
And alongside him was Jeff Johns, I believe is his name, who is a really well-known comic book writer. And I think that that's a good formula, having someone to write the script, but also being partnered with someone
Mm-hmm.
from the comic book world that can help you, again, with the facts. However, I don't even think you really need that.
Yeah.
I do think it helps, but I think it's something that, I mean, we've had a bunch of people do this stuff and just research comics on their own because they want to be respectful to the lore,
Yeah.
you know? But yeah, I just thought that, I thought that was a really interesting thought process of like where you go once you reach the top. I mean, in my opinion, this past year we had probably the best made comic book movie ever in Joker in terms of like a film.
Yeah.
Uh, and that's debatable, I know,
Question:
but it's up there.
Did Endgame come out in 2018 or 2019?
2019.
Okay. Jesus
That's what I'm
Christ.
saying, dude. It was a
Holy
year.
dude.
And
Yeah.
what I said about Endgame, if you haven't watched my top 10 movies of last year, please go do so. What I said about Endgame was it's the maybe the greatest movie in an action franchise ever. You know, it's like the peak blockbuster movie. So like trying not to go down from here isn't going to be an easy task.
Mm-mm.
But I think that if you play around, you get some new ideas in there, maybe even do what you're saying and kind of stick to your own individual lanes and not try to copy one another. I think you can really maybe not even just plateau, but maybe even ascend a little bit higher.
Yeah. Because you're not following the same path, so it wouldn't be the same linear projection. Like if you're looking at like a graph, right? It wouldn't be the same line necessarily. It's almost the idea of it branching off. So now you can't compare this line to this what this line's projection's doing because is it up, is it down? It's not the same story, so you can't really compare those two. It's like apples and oranges almost. They're both fruit, but one's an apple, one's an orange. I agree with that. I think that could be really cool. I think it would be easier for DC to do, arguably, though, than Marvel, because Marvel already has this way of doing their movies where they, what's it called? They don't have one-offs, really. They're all connected, right? And I think it would be hard for them to just be like, okay, well, we did Endgame. We're done with that universe. Now let's start making other Marvel movies. They have too much invested in that universe. They have too much going on. I mean, now would be the only time that maybe they can do that, but I think it would still be harder for them to do it than DC being like, okay, I'm gonna make this Batman a detective type movie. I'm gonna make, I don't know, I really don't know movie themes that well to just come off the top of my head with.
I'm
ideas.
gonna make Wonder Woman into almost a biblical epic movie.
Yeah, so it's
Stuff like
easier
that.
for them to do that because they can. And they have so many characters they haven't introduced where you have them that you could pull from them and then also pull this different type of movie idea out of a hat, mix it together, start introducing new superheroes, which means more merch. Everyone's happy. And there you go. Boom. It's
Absolutely.
easier. DC should listen to this. Me and you should get some sort of cut back. Hey, shout us out. Put us in a movie. Just have this clip right here or one of our next clips as like a podcast someone's watching. We get some promotion. Thank you, DC. Thank you. There. We gave you $1 million idea. You're help promoting us. Now we're both happy.
Ladies and gentlemen of the podcast universe, John and I are not afraid to sell out.
Oh, it's not selling out. This is okay. Can we go on this line real quick?
Wait, real quick.
One of my students brought this up to me.
Real quick, I just want to say, selling out is not a bad thing. You know why, John? In the great words of Charlemagne the God, if you're selling out, that means someone wants to buy in, baby.
Yes. So, one of my students, I think we were talking about Fall Out Boy, and she called them sellouts, or and I went, "What are you talking about?" I went, if you listen to any Fall Out Boy album, every single one is different.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, they still have the same Fall Out Boy sound, but they're different. Now, are they selling out because they're making a lot more money? Are they selling out because but you can't even argue any of that. Like, they had one album before they went big, and no one really knows that album because it's not great. It's their freshman album where it's a band, and it's not great. But I don't think it's selling out, and selling out is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It just, like you said, it means someone wants your stuff. It means they want to help you produce it, which it's basically someone being an investor.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they're gonna maybe tell you, don't do this, do that. But is it what you gotta play the game. You gotta play the game. Gotta play it. But we are in podcasting, so that doesn't necessarily mean that we're gonna sell out. But Schulte Studios, Andrew Schultz just built a nice compound in New York City that, hey, if he has studio space and here's this, and one day maybe you could look back on this podcast. We're riding with you from the beginning.
Look at this.
Riding with you from the beginning.
Keep it tight, baby.
Schultz. So if you want to rent a studio space or lease or help produce us, I mean, come on. Okay, but that's enough fantasy talk for right now, I guess.
Don't worry.
Do you have any other movie topics besides that, or any last closing thoughts that you want to say about that?
I'm good on that.
All right.
You want me to ask you the question that I prepared you for, or do you want to say something else?
Real quick, before the question, I actually have a movie topic I want to bring up.
Okay.
Bad Boys 3 is coming out. And
Right.
there's been a lot of talk about the billing for Bad Boys 3. Will Smith is being billed over Martin Lawrence. And I heard, actually, my wonderful girlfriend brought this up to me. And she said, last night when we went to go see 1917, she saw the trailer, saw that Will Smith was being billed. And she made like a face like, this is crazy. Martin's second billing to Will Smith. And then I told her how I think that Will Smith actually got paid triple from what I heard. That Will Smith.
Hold on. We got to look that up.
I had an article pulled up. Let me see.
Okay. I was about to start going research crazy.
Oh, wait. Bad Boy. No. What? Where is it? Did I lose it? Oh, now, none of their salaries are actually definite. But from the couple articles I've seen and the things that I've heard from people who are in Hollywood, other podcasts and stuff, I heard from a podcast that Will Smith got 15 million, and Martin Lawrence got 5 million. The article I see in front of me is saying 17 million. This is from cheatsheet.com, so who knows how it's showbiz cheat sheet. And it says that Will Smith got 17 million and Martin Lawrence got 6 million. So basically in the same range as what I heard on the podcast. Now, is that necessarily true? Who knows? But we do know that Will Smith got first billing or first credits, right? And I also heard Charlamagne talk about it, and he thought it was crazy that Martin. And I think I understand why.
Understand why what?
Why Will Smith is getting first credit.
I was about to say, bro.
It's reasonable. Why is people... They're making, I think, my girlfriend, who's black, Charlamagne, who's black, Martin is very culturally a big, person for their culture. Like, huge. So for them, I could understand, but I think Will Smith would be too, no?
Hell yeah,
like,
dude.
How are you?
I'm gonna be honest with you. Will Smith is one of the people in the 90s who probably, for lack of a better term, normalized black culture to a bunch of young white kids wanting to be like the Fresh Prince.
Yes.
And again, that's just me looking back, hindsight being 2020. And of course, Martin Lawrence is a legend. He's one of the greatest black entertainers of all time. Scratch that. He's one of the greatest entertainers of all time, period.
Yeah.
However, who has been more socially relevant, who has stayed more socially relevant into they got to be late 40s, early 50s by now, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like, right now, Will Smith he's still booming.
He's still one of the biggest movie stars of all time.
Yeah, and when did he join Instagram? A year ago?
I want to say 2 years ago.
Okay, and everyone was like, oh, he's so late to the game. Why is he doing this? One of the biggest Instagrams ever.
I'm going to pull up his followers right now.
Like, he's huge. He's one of the biggest Instagram. He took it over. He almost changed how it's done.
41.2 million followers.
In 2 years, people. 2 years. Which, given, yes, he's Will Smith, so obviously he's a huge superstar. He's going to get a bunch of followers from that. But have you ever seen his Instagram? It's really entertaining. And do you want to look for Martin's Instagram, or should we not do that? Should we not embarrass him?
Come on, bro. We objective out here.
Yeah, we're just pulling up numbers. I'm a math teacher. I love
meaningful
numbers.
Oh, you hate
under $1 million? Is it under $1 million? No,
that
okay. That would have been wild.
6.4 million.
That is a lot less. I don't know. Okay, what was Will Smith? 41.2
or something like that.
41.2. Let's round that up to 42 divided by 6. 24, 36. Oh, wow. Yeah, I rounded up to 42, right? So that is exactly, Will Smith is 7 times bigger. 7 times bigger, only being paid, from rumors, 3 times more. So, Martin, you should be happy.
You're crazy. Chill.
We want to check out Martin's YouTube channel?
Nah, we can't tell people to be happy with the bag they're getting. Everyone
No. I'm joking, but I don't think Martin's mad.
No, probably not. He probably knows what it is.
You don't see him out here being like, I think I should have been paid more. And I'm mad. No,
and by the way, fair play to him if that's how he feels.
Yeah, no, it's also reasonable, but I mean, objectively looking at it from a studio standpoint, he's Will Smith.
Will Smith, I'd have to imagine, is still one of the top 10 most famous movie stars.
But then
in the world right now.
also, even if he wasn't, let's say he fell off a little bit. He has music, right? Arguably, maybe not the best rap, but he was a successful rap career.
Hey, bro, Switch still bangs.
Yes.
Son.
Music, TV, and now movie, and all been movies. And then you could arguably, he's a good producer because his family is bumping out here. I mean, he produced a family into success.
Bro, they're the new Kardashians.
Bro,
Come on now.
Jada Pinkett is the only YouTube show that I think really people actually watch.
Yeah.
The daughter Willow is doing things. Jaden has some bangers.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Which, I mean, Will Smith fixed that kid. I don't know how, but he was a little crazy there for a minute.
I mean, he still is a little eccentric, but you know.
But not to the point where he was like, what is Earth and what is really reality, so on and so forth. He was getting a little, like, weird out there.
And bro, not even a hot take,
weird.
Jaden better musically than his dad.
Yeah. Icon is a banger. I think that's better than any Will Smith song.
Hell yeah, of course. I think parents just don't understand this.
And he's a philanthropist.
Philanthropist, my guy.
Because he's doing water stuff.
Yeah,
he has that Just Water
game.
brand, which is like it gives kickbacks to build wells or something. I don't know exactly, but it's eco-friendly with the production or the bro. Words are hard.
Moving on.
So let's go with your question.
All right, so I've been really excited about asking this one. What I asked John yesterday in preparation for the podcast today is, if you were able to take a cartoon from your childhood and revive it as a live action feature length film, which show would it be? And if you have any honorable mentions, you can say them, but I leave it up to you. The floor is yours, John.
So my thing is, I have a clarification question that I need to ask here.
Okay.
Are we allowed to change aspects of the show? Like, does it still need to be family friendly?
No.
Okay, cool. Rocket Power. Easy.
Ah.
But I want it realistic. So, I don't know. Lords of Dogtown is one of my favorite films. Because it shows like skateboarding coming up. It's grungy. It's greasy, grimy. Like, it's skateboarding. I want to see that with Rocket Power. Like, have these local kids who they do these things, blah, blah, blah. They're still younger, so they have to deal with the older kids. You see those troubles. They're just trying to fit in. And then maybe have some, they have to deal with shoobies, as they call them. Kids who come in like just to visit the beach for a day or whatever, and they have to deal with them. They run them off. Maybe these kids aren't the best kids. Maybe they're not 100% likable all the time because they do scumbaggy things. Like maybe they beat up the kids who come in. Maybe they do these things, but in the end, you end up loving them because of what they have to deal with. You get to learn their family dynamic and whatnot. I think it would be a awesome live action movie. An easier one to do because like one of my other favorite cartoons was Cat Dog, but I do not want to see that. Do not want to see a CGI version of Cat Dog because it would be terrifying. But I think it would be so much fun. Like,
that's an excellent pick.
That would be an excellent pick. So much fun.
I didn't even think about that one. Damn.
Right? It was like instant.
All right, you ready for mine?
I'm excited.
So, I have 2 honorable mentions first, and then one honorable mention, I'll say, and then my actual pick. So, honorable mention number 1. I think you could possibly, and I know they tried, but it was a Cartoon Network movie and not like a real one. I think Ben 10 could make a pretty solid child-oriented action comedy.
That could be sick.
I just think it could work. I think the graphics nowadays would do really well. Mm-hmm. I think we love space adventures. And when's the last time we had a child in space? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, my actual pick, I want a Superbad-esque version of my favorite cartoon ever, Ed, Edd n Eddy.
Oh my god, that would be so much fun.
Yeah, I want a hard are, bro. I want them trying to scam kids out of money. I want
Yeah.
them getting beaten up by Kevin. I want them to fawn over Jazz, which is the weirdest name of all time. I want Rolf to come up in there slinging ham hocks at people, saying,
That
"You
could
will
be
not mess with
so
the son of a
good.
shepherd." I want it all. It's. I think it could be so funny. I think it could be so well done. I would want them to sort of play around with the guy's looks because Eddie only has 3 hairs, and it's not really a thing.
No.
Um, and I also think that you might have to tweak the character of Ed just a little bit to fit the
Oh,
PC
yes.
culture right now.
Especially for, yeah. We've come a
Yeah,
long way since that show's been on air.
yeah,
And Ed was a little too extreme with his disabilities.
yeah, and his possible intellect, stuff like that. Yeah, for
Yes.
sure. I want to see what's I want to see what's under Double D's hat so bad. I've always wanted to see it. It still perplexes me to this day. I think his brain was showing the whole time, to be honest. However, I've done my research about this, John.
I'm kind of this. That just got. You're getting a little obsessive now. This is where the
No, no,
geek
no.
comes in, people.
No, bro, because it's like they teased it like a bunch of times throughout the show, and it pissed me off. I think he was just bald.
That would make sense. Like he just never was able to grow hair. Maybe he has something going on. Just can't have hair.
Yeah.
And so what a better way to cover it up
Then with
than a
that.
hat.
Yeah. So
Did he have eyebrows?
He had eyebrows. Yeah. Let me look that up actually.
Because like, what if he was going through chemo or something, bro?
Or what if he had alopecia?
Yeah, like maybe like he just literally couldn't grow hair for some reason. I do have a second honorable mention though that I thought of.
Yeah, we didn't have eyebrows, bro.
Whoa. Okay, they're gonna need to give the live action one eyebrows, at least. At least he needs to have eyebrows.
Yeah, because his hat was his eyebrows.
Because seeing people without eyebrows is not. Oh, he has that hat pulled down though. Maybe it's the eyebrows.
Yeah, it's right over the eyebrows.
Okay, so maybe he had eyebrows. We don't
Who
know.
knows?
But Danny Phantom.
Oh, that's a good one.
Right? And they can make a superhero line out of it. That doesn't need to be one movie either. Origin story, first boss that he has to fight. Then new bosses come in. I don't remember all of them. I just remember that green chick. Right? Wasn't there a green chick?
You might be thinking of Kim Possible, bro.
I think I was thinking of Kim Possible. Also, live action Kim Possible.
They made that recently, I think.
Oh, damn.
Or maybe just on the Disney Channel.
Probably wasn't that great. Also, Kim Possible live action.
I don't mean to cut you off real quick, John. I have people over my crib, and if you hear them, I apologize.
This is what podcasts are for. We are not your ironed out podcast, but maybe one day we will be. You are getting on in ground level. This is an investment process, people. Okay?
Go ahead, John.
But Kim Possible, that would be a good TV show, live action TV show, though, too.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like spy TV show. Like that could be really cool. Obviously, they would never make it for like adults. Like if she make a little older Kim Possible, that could be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Obviously, if they were to make a TV show out of it, it would be on Disney Channel for like kids, and it wouldn't be as good as we'd all hope.
No.
But Danny Phantom could be a really good like movie.
That was a good
series.
shout.
Like it popped. It's crazy how these things just all of a sudden pop in your head, and now I want to watch them, but I know like I don't want to spoil it because I know Danny Phantom was and like Rugrats and all these shows were like up here for me when I was a kid. Like they were my go-to. I loved them. Nickelodeon was my place. I dabbled with Codenames Kid Next Door.
Oof, that was one that I thought about, but I was like,
yeah, but they were too young. Like that was the thing. You'd have to edit it a lot, make them older.
Yeah.
Maybe the Stranger Things kids could help with that. I think that age range would be a good age range for them. But I think there's so many possibilities, and that's where you guys come in. If you're watching this and you think of something that we haven't mentioned here, let us know.
Absolutely.
Like now I'm just excited. I want all these ideas, and like we should start online petitions to get these things made.
Kickstarters, baby.
Dude, for real. But yeah, that was such a good question. Such a good question.
Thank you. Thank you.
So on to the video game type stuff for today. I have a couple different things I just want to throw out and get your ideas on it. One, since the last podcast, we had a game blow up in the streaming community, and it's a game that's been out for 2 years. It's called Escape from Tarkov. It's a very niche game, right? Kyle's never played it. I'm currently obsessed with it. And I have to come out on this podcast. I'm obsessed with Escape from Tarkov. It is the hardest game I've ever played. Hands down. Yet, you just want to go back in. I don't know if it makes sense. It's so immersive with the sounds in it. Like, I can't explain it unless you play it. Because even when you watch it, you don't get the sounds in your headphones like you hear it when you're playing the game. No. I know. I watched a lot of it before I played in it. For instance, if a gunshot goes off, your ears almost ring. Like, if it's too close to you, it's so loud and it's jarring. Because you know, if that gunshot goes off, guess how many bullets it takes to die, Kyle? One.
Oh.
To the head. If you get hit in the head, 1 bullet. Now, guess what? Does that bullet actually need to be coming at you? No, Kyle. It could bounce off a doorway and ricochet, and it could kill you. It happened to me.
Yikes.
I shot a doorway by accident and I killed myself. Grenades. If you throw a grenade, there's 100 projectiles that come out of that grenade. They bounce around hallways. They bounce around corners. They could kill you. It is so crazy. This game is so addicting though, and it's so amazing what this company did, because it's a little company, BSG Battle State Games. And what they did, I think their marketing here, and this is what I really want to get into about the game. Yes, the game's great, but it's been out for 2 years. Well, the beta has been released for 2 years. They've been working on it. It's a growing game, right? It's not even the full release yet. But what they did was they partnered with Twitch, and they did these things called drops. So if you're watching a streamer, and the streamer has drops enabled, which means they're a bigger streamer, they're partnered with Battle State Games, and they're playing Escape from Tarkov, and you're watching them, you could get drops, which is in-game loot, right?
Oh,
and
kind of like a supply drop from Fortnite.
Yes, so it's in-game loot. So not like necessarily in-game where like you're in. So the way the game works is you have like a stash room, and that's like your safe zone. You're not walking around it, right? It's just kind of like your locker. You have all these items. Then there's 2 ways you could do it. You could do a scav run where you get given items and you could die and you don't keep anything. But if you escape with it, you keep everything that the scav had. But it's all lower weapons. You don't really have armor, so on and so forth, which means you're very weak. Or you could go as a PMC run, which is you take your items that you've collected. Maybe you got out of runs. Maybe you raided and you got things. Or you bought them from a trader. So this could be higher level weapons, things that you've customized, high level armor, a sick helmet with night vision goggles, things like that, right? So you go in, and now you have a greater edge. You have to still fight other PMCs, maybe with those weapons, but you could take out scavs a lot easier because they're low levels. So when they drop the loot, you get them into your you get them to your stash spot, and it's not like the most amazing weapons that you were getting, but you're getting something. But what this did was made the game get a lot of view numbers, which made it be more recognizable to other people on Twitch, right? And now the game is something that is right under Fortnite every day, or right above Fortnite every day. Also,
really,
which brings me into the next thing, right? So one, I think that marketing strategy is genius that they did this, because it didn't break the game, and it made the game blow up within a week. 1 week, it blew up the game. So
that matters.
I think their marketing was genius, and I just want to get your idea on it. I know you really don't know much about the game, but like the marketing behind it and how it took over, because now it's in the top 5, top 10 games all the time now on Twitch, and even on Mixer. It's up there.
Yeah. So in my opinion, for me, anything that you can do to make your game or any sort of content blow up like that, if you can do it and it succeeds, awesome. But I think that with anything, you need to also build a community of people playing that game consistently.
Yes.
Like, I think Fortnite did a really great job of it in terms of making a great base game that just so happened to blow up. They made the game continue to be great, and they added stuff to it according to what the community wanted. They took ideas from Reddit, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Those are great accoutrements to the game to kind of help keep the community happy. However, when it comes to when it comes to stuff like this, which is almost viral marketing, it's great, but you need a way to keep the players there.
Well,
and the
this
viewers there.
this was the thing. This game has a like an extreme learning curve at the beginning. Like you go in, you die. You go in, you get die. You go in, you die. You go in, you die. Until eventually you start figuring out the map. You start figuring out, okay, maybe I like this gun over this gun. This is my play style. And just maybe I can sneak around here instead of doing this. You just get a little better with the aiming and whatnot. So you just get a little better over time. I'm still nowhere near good. But it's addicting in the way it is. Like, because you go in, you die, but you know immediately what you may have done wrong. So you're just like, oh crap, I want to go back fix it. Or I want to get this gun back. I want to get that. And it's so addicting. And you can see it because Dr. Lupo played this game for months. I've been watching him play. If probably longer. Maybe years, right? But he then got Tim the Tapman into it. He got Cloaksy into it. He got Action Jackson, who's not bigger, but he's part of their friend group. Trevor May, who's in their friend group, and a bunch of other streamers to start playing it. And they've been really enjoying it. Now, is it their main game? No, they're still doing a bunch of other games. But they added it to their rotation of games, which is huge because now you got these big streamers playing it. Ninja didn't really dabble with it. I don't think it's his type of game, which would then help make it on Mixer. They do have Shroud playing it. Shroud's been playing it before it blew up, who's one of the bigger Mixer streamers. But it's just crazy to see that now. They did this, which brought it to attention, which you said viral marketing. But then people did realize how addicting this game is and how much fun it was. So they had a good game behind it. I don't think they would have done this drops thing with the viral marketing if they didn't already know that their game was getting, like, if once you start playing it, it was an addicting game type of thing where you just can't want to keep going. Another thing that is smart about this game, which could be a little frustrating, but during the beta, every time they do a big drop, because they're still, since it's the beta, they're still adding guns to the game. They're still adding maps to the game. Last big update, they added this thing called the Hideout, which you use your money in game to upgrade it, which then it could gives you more medical supplies and things like that. But you basically, it's like your hideout, which you could upgrade to get things. But when they do that, they reset the servers, so you lose everything and you go back to when the game started, which is frustrating. But all these big players love it because when you're a huge player, it's still really hard because there's other huge players out there. And as I said, even you can have the best armor on, one mistake, you get shot in the head, you dead, you lose all that stuff because someone just looted it and now they got it. So it's amazing how this game could work because one run you could go in with your best gear on thinking that, okay, I'm gonna kill this run. You could get hit with something or make one mistake and you lose it all. And I think that's the appeal of the game, is that one mistake and that's it. Like, you need to be almost perfect every time you go out to make it back, or close to perfect, or get lucky. And I think that's a big appeal of it. But it's just amazing that when we first started this podcast, right, we're 8, 9 episodes in. I don't remember exactly, but when we first started this podcast, we had one game that was killing it. One game, Fortnite, that was just destroying it. Call of Duty came out. That took a little bit away from it, but still, Fortnite was number one. Fortnite was there, and now Escape from Tarkov is there. And this leads me right into my last topic for this week. Fortnite hasn't been number one.
What has been?
So let me pull it up right now because I already have it pulled up. I'm on Twitch. Let me refresh the page, and I will read off the games for you right now. Right now, Sekiro Shadow Die Twice, which is like a single-player game, has 233,000 views for number one. League of Legends, which has always been a big popular game, it's an online esports game, has 192,000 views. Fortnite's number 3, which earlier it was not, with 131,000 views. This on Twitch has been the biggest thing recently, and I've seen it number 1 a lot. Just chatting. So what we're doing right now has been very big on Twitch, where people go in, they just talk to chat, maybe they watch some videos. It's just a show. They just are they're live streaming podcasts basically, or doing a live stream podcast. And that's at 112,000 views. Grand Theft Auto right now is at 111. Escape from Tarkov 111, and Dota 2 at 108. But some other big notable games like Call of Duty, right, on Twitch right now only has 19.2 thousand views.
Whoa.
right? Now, let's say, okay, that's one internet space. Now, given Mixer is smaller, a lot smaller, Fortnite right now has 9,000 views,
Okay.
which I'm shocked about. I think it's Ninja's viewers dispersing because Ninja was on recently and he hosted someone, but that is that. Next up, we have Apex Legends with 3,844 views. Paladins, 3,586 views. PUBG, 3,500. Music, 3,400. Escape from Tarkov has 2,691. But what I just noticed, Shroud just got on, only has 1,000 views right now. That's going to jump up a lot. Call of Duty is after that with 2,500. But what I realized was Fortnite view count is going down. Now, I think I know why. And I think it's getting dull right now for Fortnite. Last couple weeks, have you been excited to play it?
Not really.
No,
just trying to get the challenges done before the season's over.
At the beginning of the season, we were excited. New map, new this, new that. It was a lot of fun. But this season has been dragging on like crazy. The game marketing behind it, and I think I know what they're up to, because as we mentioned in the past, Call of Duty does seem like they want to put out a battle royale, and we heard rumors that it was going to be a 200-player battle royale. Right? We talked about it previous on this podcast. It's extreme, whatever. I heard rumors it's going to be in February. What also is coming up in February, the beginning of February, the new season of Fortnite. So I think they're battling for that big pop and promotion of launching new things, new season of Fortnite, new Call of Duty stuff, right? So I think that's their goal, is to like drag it out a little bit, so then it's not mid-season of Fortnite when this Call of Duty thing comes out and they lose all their viewers to it. And there's still hype around it, right? But it's just so interesting to see this play out and how much it's changed. The landscape has changed over the last couple of weeks, and what's going to happen. But what do you think some marketing things that Fortnite could do, Call of Duty could do to help build their numbers again? Like,
I mean, the thing is, numbers are driven by hype, and you just gotta put stuff out that people are excited about. Essentially, this Fortnite season has gone, I want to say like 4 months now, maybe longer.
Bro, it's been a long
September, October,
time.
November, December, January.
Was it September though? Did we start in September?
I think it started the week before the weekend you were going back to school.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, dude, a 5-month season, that's too long. People aren't really hyped about anything anymore.
That is really long.
And I mean, if we're being honest, aside from the Star Wars stuff, the season was kind of bland. It was just like, all right, new map, here you go, have at it. Which I get. You can't just throw all your eggs into the basket. You need to have some stuff in your back pocket.
Mm-hmm.
However, this is what's going to happen when you don't keep providing new content like you used to. With stuff like Escape from Tarkov and stuff like that, and Call of Duty, maybe we'll leave Escape for now. Let's talk about COD.
Yeah.
I mean, COD has been around forever, man. You know, it's the former powerhouse fighter that is still fighting, but they're no longer the top dog. You know, one can almost refer to them like a Conor McGregor type, even.
What? Wait, which is one thing I do want to talk about before we end the podcast. So just remind me before we end this that I want to bring that up.
Gotcha, and I think I know why. So yeah, I mean, I think that you just need to put out the dope stuff. You need to get the hype train going. You need to maybe put out the bag to some of these streamers and say, hey, promote the game.
Yeah.
Hand out them bag skis and see if people can get that hype generated again. Because again, there's a big, I think, community that plays Fortnite still. I mean, I'm part of it. I know you are. All our boys are, except for one person who's like in the midst of like a COD overrun right now.
He's addicted.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, I think that it's just a matter of, can you make something that people are going to talk about?
Yeah.
They're talking about the word of mouth and people going, yo, did you hear what Fortnite's doing? That is what you need. Stuff like that.
With Call of Duty, do you think their gameplay is almost old, worn out? Like,
yeah, of course it is.
Because you think about the reason battle royales work now and they didn't in the past, because technology evolved. They're able to actually play with 100 people in a server without everyone. The internet's gotten faster. We are able to load the graphic cards on things are getting faster. And and which I was going to dabble with this conversation now, but we're going to wait until next podcast to see more that comes out with next-gen consoles, because I've heard rumors based around them. But I'm going to save that stuff for the next podcast because, one, time, and two, it's just not as much information as 100%, and I would like to wait 2 more weeks to actually get it. But technology is getting better. Call of Duty's gameplay and what you do in the game is the same as it was years ago, which, yes, brings back the nostalgia factor, but it's kind of getting boring.
Yeah.
How many times can I run around the map and shoot someone in Team Deathmatch or Search and Destroy or something? And yes, you could be competitive at it and it can stay fresh, but they need to change things up. And I don't have the direct answer. Maybe a Battle Royale is the answer, right? Because now that me and you both played Call of Duty, we own this Call of Duty, I'm definitely going to play that Battle Royale. I know you will. I know Alan will. I know some of our other friends will. So we'll have a squad to play it, which will make it more fun. And it could be very exciting, but it needs to be good.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
that could make or break this game of Call of Duty, right? Not solidifying their future ones that come out. But this one, it could really boost the numbers viewing wise. It could do all these fun things, but I think they need a Battle Royale-esque game or come out with a new type of game where it's a lot of people in it or something, but using the technology we have now to do it, because it's getting it's stale almost, that type of jump into a game, we do this match, that's it, right? Like, which they did kind of come out with something a little new with the 2v2 gunfights, which people are into, but that's like super competitive. It's a super like elite thing almost. And that didn't necessarily get as much traction as possible, but I don't know, man. They need some of these games need to start really putting out unique stuff. It's almost like the movie thing we were just talking about with the comic book movies. We don't want to see the same thing over and over again.
Nope,
same comic book story, but reskinned. Call of Duty's getting reskinned. The same thing happens with, your Maddens, your FIFA Soccers.
2K.
It's just 2K. People just, you buy it every year because maybe like the physics are a little better or this or that. New players come into the league and they're not updating the old one with them anymore.
Yeah.
So you need to get the new one. Player base runs off of this one and goes with that one, so you have to do it. But for the most part, it's just a reskin. The graphics maybe got a little crisper. That's it. But even that, is it? Yeah, like that's the thing. Like, do you think this year's 2K was as good as last year's? Because I remember
it's worse than last year's.
It's worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, because remember, I think last year's they had an amazing story mode or something, right?
Yeah, and that was whatever. But like the online play was awesome.
There we go.
Layouts of everything. This year, it's not even reskinned, bro. We got the same layout for everything. It's bad.
Which I get. Maybe they were like, if it's not broke, why fix it type of thing.
I mean, if you're charging $60, that might be why.
Exactly. That's why you need just update the last one then. But those games, I feel like they have to put something out every year. It's not in their thing.
Yeah, it's part of the culture.
But that's also not gonna be a longevity of your game. So some of these game companies really need to think about their marketing. I agree. Or else it's gonna tank you. But yeah, that's all. That's all I got to say on it. You know my feelings on it now.
I mean, we said it before, we'll say it again. If you want to hire us, you want to throw the bag our way, we'll help you out,
Bro, we're in it. We know games. We play them.
You can get stuff done, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But as I said, I want to talk about one little thing. In a week from today, our boy comes back. He's coming home.
The
Conor
king is back.
McGregor. And the only reason I am this hyped right now is because I was just listening to a podcast, and the one guy on it, Brendan Schaub, has this thing called Food Truck Diaries. If you are into MMA and you want a good show to watch with interviews with fighters, I seriously check out Brendan Schaub's Food Truck Diaries. It's very entertaining. He goes to food trucks with these fighters. They eat food, and he does a little interview with them. So it's not just an interview. They eat just food truck food and whatnot. But he had Dominic Cruz on. And you know who Dominic Cruz is, right? Remember Cody Garbrandt fought him. He lost to him. But he's one of the GOATs, right? And the reason he's one of the GOATs is not necessarily because of his body, because he gets hurt all the time, but it's because of his brain. He is known in MMA, which now he does commentary, so it really shows, but he is known in MMA as one of the smartest fighters about the sport, like footwork, training, all that type of stuff. He just knows the sport so well. He saw Conor at the UFC Performance Institute in Las Vegas training, and he said he's on another level. He is doing something great. Does that necessarily mean Conor's going to win? No. Donald Cerrone is a great fighter. Doesn't get his dues necessarily because of how much he fights, which then he ranks up. He collects these losses because I don't know if he's fully ready to fight again. But he's an amazing fighter. Yeah. And he's not necessarily someone like that pairs well with Conor for Conor's fight style. Cerrone gets better as the fight goes on. Conor gets worse. But Conor, we know, is a round 1-2 fighter. He can knock people out in round 1 and 2. Donald Cerrone's a slow starter, which could be
Conor
awesome.
Get him with that left hand. Ooh, boy.
Also, my favorite thing to see is someone be honest about their mistakes. There's a Kevin Hart documentary out right now on Netflix. Everyone's raving about it because he is brutally honest on it, where he shows him like the whole wife cheating scandal, the whole Oscars thing, and he admits that he didn't even handle that well because he did miss out on his dream. Things like that. I heard it's great. I'm going to watch it while I'm working out because apparently it's super motivating. But the reason I brought that up is Conor is honest in a Mac Life interview he does. He says his last camp, he didn't take it seriously when he fought Khabib. And when you rewatch that Khabib fight, Conor still did pretty well. Like, he made it to round 4. People didn't think he was going to. He got mauled at round 1 and 2, and in round 3, he arguably won it. So it's this thing where, and that's Conor not fully trained. That was where he admit he didn't give everything to his coaches. He said in this interview that he goes, I feel bad. I was not in the right mental game. I was too high on myself, which you could see he made all these mistakes. He said, I cut all that out of my life. And you could see that in an interview. You watched it. Didn't he look clear? Like, his eyes, he looked clear.
Not only there did he look clear. Did you watch the second Mac Life video where he's talking about, I'm not even talking about where he's training.
No, I actually didn't see it.
He looks like the old Conor. He's out there dancing. He's doing the laugh. Mm-hmm. He's saying how much he loves it. He's doing the training and everything. And it seems like he's just having fun again, like he used to.
Do you think you think he made a shit ton of money?
Yeah.
Do you think obviously that had to get to him where he may have not wanted to fight anymore? I think he found his love for fighting again.
He might have, yeah.
Or competitive love. And that's exciting. That's exciting. I think this loss of him and people saying, like, maybe he's not as good. He's not that great that we saw. Like, he got demolished. Like, he can't win these fights. And maybe that got to him, and he was like, I need to prove myself. I am Conor McGregor. I am the champ. I can't let people forget about that. No. And I hope a week from now we get to see that. I'm so excited for that. I'm so excited to the point where, I mean, maybe I didn't buy all the fights in the previous past, right? Maybe we found them somewhere, right? Or maybe I just watched them after. I don't know. Do you know, Kyle?
You're trying to get the feds on us.
We watched them after. We didn't watch it. I'm saying I watched it. I have UFC Fight Pass. Maybe I just waited and watched them. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I saw the highlights on Twitter.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to pay for this pay-per-view. Wow. Because I need to make sure I get to see this live. I need to make sure it's good quality. I haven't been this excited for an MMA fight in a very long time, right? Not even for I don't think the last Conor Khabib fight was I this excited, because I had a feeling that Khabib was going to win. I'm so excited for this fight.
I might be as hyped as I was for the Floyd and Conor fight.
That's saying a lot. Like, it's going to be great. Next Saturday, I'm going to be it's going to be like a holiday for me. I'm going to be walking around, but I'm going to wear my Conor shirt from 194.
Do the Billy strut.
And it's going to be great. But this is Gorilla and The Geek, and I was geeking out about that. I had to bring it up. I know it doesn't necessarily fit into our normal conversation, but I was just so geeked out about it. I'm so excited, dude. I cannot wait. But do you have any final closing thoughts on anything we've mentioned this week?
I don't. Do you?
I don't think I do. I cannot think of anything off the top of my head.
All right, so that'll do it for us here, everyone. Yes. Thank you all very much for watching, listening, whatever you're doing. Make sure if you're on one of our YouTube channels where you're seeing these clips, leave the videos likes, please. Subscribe to the channels.
Share them.
Let us know in the comment sections with any questions you have for the podcast going forward. I'm sorry, Johnny, you were going to say something?
Share them with your friends, guys. The biggest way to spread a podcast is word of mouth, right?
Absolutely.
If you think you know someone who might like this, please tell them. Please let them know. Maybe just share a clip, because we're going to start putting out these clips more. along with the full podcast, but maybe that'll make them interested, right? They don't have to fully invest in a full podcast. I don't know. But we will appreciate anything that you guys can help us with here. We want to build a community around the podcast. As always, get you guys involved. So as Kyle said, send in questions that you want to hear us talk about. If you have any ideas for the podcast, let us know. This isn't just ours. If we're building a community, it's everybody's, right? It's not just mine and Kyle's. Yeah. So we're all geeks out here. We like to geek out about things. We want to hear what you want to geek out about. Kyle, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Buff Charmander. That's BUFF Charmander. I'm not going to spell that out because I had trouble last podcast with it.
Oh my God.
And horrible. You can find me on YouTube, Geeks Weekly. That is 2 words, Geeks Weekly. Make sure to check out my most recent videos. I just dropped my top 10 movies of 2019. I did a review of some movie that I just watched last night. I don't want to spoil it right now. It should be up by the time that this is out. And be on the lookout for my next analysis video, which should be coming out either late this week or early next week. John, where can the people find you?
I'm very excited for all the things you just said. But the people can find me on Mixer at Ginger Gorilla, Instagram Ginger Gorilla Gaming, Twitter Ginger Gorilla Gaming, YouTube Ginger Gorilla Gaming, and I think that's all I have. But mostly, I want to point out, I never said this on the stream before, my Mixer schedule. Monday nights, Tuesday nights, and Thursday nights are definite. From 4 now until around 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, I'm going to be trying to stream from that time on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, consistently. So if you like what I am saying here and you want to see me react and be goofy on a game, might not be what you're into, but come on, stop by, check it out. Mixer.com/Ginger Gorilla. Check out my YouTube channel. I'm posting videos every now and again. I don't have a perfect schedule on there. I'm not going to lie to you people. Besides this podcast, everything else kind of comes out randomly. So I don't blame you for not necessarily following all that. But I do put out some fun clips there. Instagram, every day. We got clips. But I got to say one thing. Make sure you check out Kyle's stuff. I am a huge fan of Kyle. I gas him up all the time. I honestly, right now, I can't. I got to stop talking about it because I might be getting a little emotional.
Oh, my God.
But I love it. Kyle is doing big things here. He's been making great content for years, and it's starting to show light of day.
Thank you.
And it's amazing. But, guys, once again, share this podcast with your friends. Let us know. We are the Gorilla and the Geek. And thank you, everyone, for listening and watching.
Bye-bye.
Peace out, everybody.